Hello there and welcome to the Handshake on New Vision TV with me, Lynn Komdisha. And this is where we discuss economic issues and the business sector. Lots of things that are happening that we may not know. And I have with me Paul Busharizi to help me understand these things, as well as helping you also make sense of whatever is happening in and around you. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What's wrong with you today? You don't look...
I'm fine. Fine as ever.
All right. Now, I was reading somewhere, and the government, that means also the president, has ordered...
No, it doesn't mean the same thing, but yeah.
Okay. Now, the president has ordered tax cuts on small businesses. But the government has set up a team to review these various taxes levied on these various small business sectors. My question is, what? Where have they been? I mean, they've been taxing them. Are they being taxed higher than the others? Why now?
I think what the president is trying to achieve, although, as you said, he made a, can you call it, directive, and then the bureaucrats have to go and look at the feasibility of it. That's the way the processes work. They can't immediately, cut taxes or whatever. They can, well, but the systematic thing to do is to go back into study the situation and then see how to project. But I think what the president is trying to do is to many times these guys are informal. These are informal traders. Maybe they might be market vendors, or they might be taxi operators, that category of people. I don't think, even vendors, there's some official there's some licensed vendors. Okay. Is that these people are finding themselves being slapped with fees or taxes every so often. So for example, I understand that if I'm a taxi driver, that at every stage I have to pay something. Or something like that. Not to mention I'm a daily thing, or every time I turn up at the stage. At the taxi park, I made to understand you have to pay some sort of daily fee.
Yes, yes.
And then, of course, they have to pay to cases. If they're operating in Kampala, they have to pay to cases here. And then, if they're organized enough, they might have to pay Uganda Revenue Authority.
Sure.
So I think what the idea was, from what I read, is that he might have been trying to, at best, make it one tax, so that just pay once and you go.
Yeah, actually, that is mentioned for the taxi operators.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that it will be cheaper, but that it will be a one-off. Now, I don't know. You might find that the reason they actually pay every day is because they can't pay the one-off. It might be too much. Okay. Imagine if a person is paying 1,000 shillings at the taxi park every day. That's about 365. Or every time he drives into the taxi park, and he drives into the taxi park, let's just say 5 times a day, times 365, you talk about 2 million shillings thereabouts to pay. So which taxi operator is going to pay 2 million upfront? Yes. So, but I think many times, I think the challenge, I think what, there's a thing, we've talked about it before, the ease of doing business in Uganda. And one of the challenges of doing business in Uganda is that there are too many bureaucratic processes. So I have to get a license here, I have to get a license here. And it takes days to even start up a business, or it takes a lot of your time as a businessman complying. So I imagine what the president is trying to do in his wisdom is to try and collapse this thing for the informal sector guys.
So, how is this supposed to help us?
Well, it hopefully can bring the costs of doing business for them down. And it's always good for businessmen if their costs come down. They are businessmen, or even if they're informal, they're still businessmen. And that helps. And two, hopefully, these savings might be passed on to the end consumer. However, me, who am I? But I have a kind of different opinion. We're not helping these people by making it easier for them to remain informal. We want I think ideally as an economy, we would want everyone, or the majority of businessmen, to go into the formal sector. That would mean keeping books, paying taxes, and operating in an organized manner.
Yeah.
Because you see, one of the challenges we have in our business community is that, like, for example, just one thing to say, it's hard to get affordable money, be that credit or whatever. But one of the reasons is, if a banker comes to you and you're very informal, he doesn't know where to find you. There's no other record of you in the whole country because you probably just have a receipt from KCCA, but once they sign you off, they don't know where you are. Okay. How am I supposed to lend you money cheaply? I have to account for the risk that you're going to disappear as soon as I give you the money.
But you see, most of these people in the informal sector don't really have that much money. They're trying to survive as well.
But if they can, you see, if they can be encouraged to graduate into formal sector, I mean, there are people who safely, for years and years, have been in the informal sector. Why are you still there 5, 10, 20 years down the line?
Things maybe are not well. Things have refused to shift.
Well, one of the reasons things have refused to shift is because you're informal. So if you get formal, then you can get money, you can even get a tax. You see, another thing that is challenging is, like, for example, if I'm a formal business, URA says we want to tax you. URA taxes my profit. That means I've bought something and sold it for some money, and then they tax the difference.
Okay.
But as in business, sometimes I buy something for 100 shillings, but I can't sell for 100 shillings. I sell for 95 shillings. I make a loss. URA has nothing to tax me on. Now compare that with a vendor who they say, we want, let's say, 100,000 shillings from you in some licensing fee tax per year. But that year I've made a loss of 100,000. So double loss. I'm going to pay KCC 100,000 and make a loss of 100,000. If I was formal, I would tell you, excuse me, I made a loss. So I only pay KCC the 100,000.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. So it's not surprising that many of our businesses collapse because we've got these costs. I mean, if I make a loss, why should I pay a tax? I shouldn't pay tax. But our informal guys, because we want to dodge around.
Yeah.
URA is.
That's the best.
URA taxes profit. That's one I hear people complaining about. But if you don't make a profit, then URA has no business with you.
You're safe.
But URA has got, interestingly, URA has got a tax called presumptive tax.
Okay.
A presumptive tax, the guy comes to your shop and says, where are your books? We want to tax you. Boss, I don't have books. So, okay, the guy looks at your shop. He says, I think we should tax it 1 million a year. Now, it's up to you to prove that it should not be taxed 1 million. But our shopkeepers think, that's a small money. I would have paid more if I was in the books. But the guy is making a loss. He makes a loss. I know a friend, started an architectural firm. URA came to her and said, tried presumptive. They said, I think you owe us 30 million. So she says, she went and looked in her books. She made a loss of 20 million that year.
What?
So she went and told the URA guys, excuse me, in fact, you guys, you owe me. So imagine if she didn't have her books. She would have made a loss for 20 million and paid 30. How do you think a business is going to survive?
Wow. That is exactly what I wanted us to understand. The things we didn't know. Now you know. Just that they're quite interesting. They come at an interesting time. And we keep wondering, are these things viable now that they're promising? Can they be worked on? Well, we leave that to the government that has set up a technical team to look into that. And we hope the informal sector people can find a way of dealing with that. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.